ready.
Welcome to the MAXX Sports Entertainment Show on the Gruely True Sports Network. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. My guest today was a standout at the University of Missouri. Now he's a tight end with I almost said the San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. Please help me welcome to the show, Sean Culkin. How you doing, Sean?
Hey, Mike. Doing well, man. Appreciate you having me on it.
Sorry about the San Diego thing, but I'm old and it just kind of sticks.
Hey, that's something that, is over the last year, I don't think I've never met someone to not say that. So, don't worry.
Well, the bad thing is I started to say it, then I just continued before I changed it. But
right. Yeah, no, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, and you're having a great season with the Chargers, who are a team. I had Denzel Perryman on the show a few months ago. I actually picked the Chargers to go to the Super Bowl against the Saints, so I'm cheering for you guys. Let's start off. When did you start playing football?
Yeah, so I grew up playing when I was in fifth grade. I played Pee Wee football. I was actually a left tackle at the time. One of the bigger guys. I remember I was always like a pound or two from making the weight, like 115 or whatever. But I've been playing tackle football every year since fifth grade.
All right, and then you played at Indian Rocks Christian Schools. Talk to us a little bit about Indian Rocks.
Yeah, so it's a smaller school, in the Largo, Florida area, a little south of Tampa. I think my senior class, only had about 65 students in it. But I was there from preschool twice all the way through my senior year. So it was like 15 years, playing at one school, which was, a different experience, but nonetheless something that, I definitely had some positives to it.
All right. What was the first indication that you could play this at the next level and maybe be a Division I college football player? When did recruits start to come around?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story. So basketball was always actually my main sport, my whole life. The whole town, everyone kind of thought, they were kind of shocked when I actually chose football. But, it was around my sophomore year. Our football coach, Jerry Wunsch, he actually played in the NFL 9 years and with the Bucs and the Seahawks. I was playing quarterback, I think, at the time. But really just my focus was basketball. And, he's like, hey, you're playing the wrong sport and you're playing the wrong position right now. I'm telling you right now, you're an NFL tight end in the making. There's no doubt in my mind. So, hearing it from a guy like that that's been there, done that, had the success that he had, definitely as a kid sparked my interest. So, then I started kind of thinking, maybe this is something I want to do and, kind of put, really it wasn't until my senior year of high school actually that I fully committed to, wanting to play football instead of basketball at the next level.
All right. So was the main reason you committed to playing football because you thought you could take that farther than basketball, or did you actually like football better than basketball?
Yeah, I think it was a little combination of both. I think, my mentality, kind of how I approached the games differently. I think I was definitely more geared towards football. I wanted to continue to lift and get bigger. I'm only 210, 205 in high school, and I'm, 250, 255. So and I wanted to do that. And then at the same time, I was playing on, at the time, Adidas, the team for Florida for the AAU team. And, we pretty much had, I think it was, two A and a B team. We had 17 D1 prospects. Some of them are in the NBA right now. And, I was one of the shorter kids on my team, and I just knew the cap, with basketball, probably, it would have been a little bit more challenging to go to the NBA, just being only 6'5".
Yeah, and I think I read where you were the first player to go from Indian Rocks to playing Division I college football. That had to be a huge moment for you. And what pushed you towards the University of Missouri?
Yeah, so like you said, I was the first one ever, Division I football. And, I think in the recruiting process, since I was kind of late to the game in the aspect, Missouri was one of the bigger schools that kind of got hold of me and, saw my potential. And I just could tell that they truly valued me, as a player, as a person. I wasn't just a check on their, checklist and knock off a position, So, as I went through the process, a lot of bigger schools, I was kind of this, backup option if they didn't get the main guy. And I knew that I was that guy from Missouri. So I was like, I'll give it a visit, see what Columbia, Missouri is like. And, growing up on the beach and everything was completely different, nothing I was used to, for 18 years. But I truly fell in love with Columbia. I love the Midwest. Felt at home those 3 days of my visit and, knew that they had something special going forward, going into the SEC. So, I definitely felt 100% confident in my decision to play there.
Yeah, there is a big difference between the river and the beach, though, Sean.
Yeah, there sure is. That's for sure. And, there's a thing called snow days that I wasn't accustomed to either, and that was quite an adjustment.
All right, you played for Coach Pinkel there at the start. What was your relationship like with Coach?
Oh, yeah, Coach Pinkel was awesome. I was actually just back in Missouri not a week ago for my bye week, and it's awesome being able to, catch up with him. But, just how he ran his program, I knew that the success he had before in the Big 12, and then I knew what he was going to take. And to the SEC is just someone I wanted to play for sure. He ran a tight ship that, we call it Mizzou made, and like a way to do it. It's his process and what, how he wants it. It works, as you could see, I think within two years, we already, winning the East back-to-back years. So, couldn't have had a better coach.
Yeah, and it had to be huge for you. I think it was 2014, a bowl game in Orlando. You'd been away from home for a while. Everybody back home gets to come see you play. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, that was awesome. Like you said, it was just, hour and a half from home, got to see all my family and friends. It was around Christmas time. All those games, especially playing the SEC, even though I was going all the way to Missouri, I had a lot of opportunities to play on that side, of the East. So, playing in Gainesville, Florida, or UCF, or even, games like Georgia, it was easy, to be able to play in front of friends. And, that's just, just one more thing to get you a little bit more motivated, maybe play a little harder, because there's nothing like playing in front of your family and your hometown and friends and everything that supported you all along the way.
All right. Now, when you get towards the end of your senior season at Missouri, what were the NFL dreams? Because you were a guy that was considered a really good blocker. You didn't have, 100 catches for 1,000 yards in a season at tight end. What were your expectations at the end of your senior year when it pertains to your NFL hopes?
Yeah, like you said, it was a different experience. When I first committed to Missouri, I think the tight ends were getting, 90 balls a game, or 90 balls a year. They were constantly split out, heavily involved in the passing game. And I'm like, man, I want to play for those guys. They're winning the MAXX award. They're all being drafted. And I get there and we change offenses. I think we had 3 different offense coordinators in my, 4.5 years there. So, you started to have to block more and do all that. And the size, had a lot more playmakers, in the other years at wideout. So, yeah, my passing, stats weren't there for sure. But, I was, challenged for the role to learn to block and help the team that way. And, I wanted to do my best, whatever my role was, every single year, every game. So, but as, my senior year started to, approach and end and everything, I'm like, I don't know. I know I can play at the next level. I know I have all the tools, the mindset, the capabilities to do it, but will I get that chance, a fair opportunity or anything to, chase my dreams? And so it was a little bit, of uncertainty there for sure, but, just controlling it day by day and just doing my job, was really all I could focus on.
Now, you were a really good blocker in college at Missouri. I would think your last year or two in high school, you were probably the go-to guy just by looking at your stats. Was there anybody at Missouri that really helped you develop the ability to block?
Yeah, for sure. There's 2 that come to mind initially. First, my tight ends coach for the first couple of years under Coach Finkel was Josh Henson. He was a tight ends coach at LSU when they won a national championship, and then he's been an O-line coach ever since then, or, even offensive coordinator or somewhat at Mizzou. But, he started to kind of ingrain, the fundamentals, the whole scheme of blocking, between the tight end and all the O-line, just, learning the run game, truly. And then my last year, actually, so I played for Coach Barry Odom, who, was a tremendous opportunity to play for him, too. I love him. He's a guy that I'll go through a wall for, any day. And, so my tight ends coach that year was Joe John Finley, who, played at Oklahoma and a few years in NFL, and he was a younger guy that, really, kind of just took the knowledge and level that I knew before to the next level. There's some of the smaller details that, him playing this recently and some of the savviness, that he had that he could apply to my game. And, from there, that's where, I really started to see strides in my game and blocking.
All right, so you signed a free agent contract, I think, with the Los Angeles Chargers. I can't help it, Sean. I've been saying San Diego. I'm 49 years old.
I know it.
They've been San Diego for 48 years to me. But you signed a contract with the Chargers. When you get there, how big of an adjustment was it for you just with the speed of the game going from Division I college football to the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you're playing at the highest level, so everything is amplified. Everyone's stronger, faster. Running routes, that window of getting open gets way smaller. Blocking gets that much tougher to move them across the line. I was fortunate, though, playing SEC. I don't want to get into the conversation of which conference is the best in college, but, I do know that the SEC has a lot of guys that go to the next level, and the speed and strength that, the DNs that I was facing, week in and week out definitely prepared me well to, have success at the NFL. Even in practice, if you look at Missouri, the defensive ends, that were drafted, Coney Ely, second rounder, Marcus Golden, third rounder, Shane Ray, first rounder, Michael Sam, defensive player of the year in SEC. Those are guys that, have, changed the game, how they rush the game, the passer. So, the adjustment wasn't as, difficult as it could have been for a rookie tight end.
Yeah, and when you look at it, 2017 preseason, you really played well, which I think cemented you being on the team. But as a rookie free agent, I mean, what's it like to go through the training camp process where anytime there's a cut and there's people knocking on the door, you got to be a little bit concerned?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely, being undrafted, it's tough for sure because it's just the nature of the business. It's, teams have their guys and, draft picks are definitely, very, valued and everything. So, it's definitely, everyone knows it's definitely harder to make a team, being undrafted. But, I truly believe that, if you're good enough, there's a spot, you have to force them to keep them, it's just make them to where they can't, release you, this is what you have to do every single day. And, obviously you have the margin of error is a lot smaller, you got consistency every single day, knowing the playbook, doing your job, you really don't have any opportunities to mess up. So like you said, when you see a guy get hurt or, you see, cut day approaching, just, being in that position as an undrafted free agent, definitely is in the back of your head for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah. And coming in there to the NFL, I don't think you come in a much better situation. You got guys like Antonio Gates, Phillip Rivers, and the one that stuck out to me, it would be your tight end coach, Rip Shear. You want to talk a little bit about how those guys have helped you? Because I think Coach Shear is a very good tight ends coach.
Yeah, no. Last year I had John McNulty for my first year as a tight ends coach, and then once he took the job with the offense coordinator job at Rutgers, Rip Shear came in, and it's been awesome. Having him coach me from OTAs all the way into this point. He's definitely, like you said, he's a great coach. He knows the game. He's been in the game for I don't even know how many years. I think he coached Coach Wisenhunt and even Anthony Lynn. So, having him as a coach, teaching technique and fundamentals, definitely raised my game even more to another level. And then, like you said, you have guys that, at the quarterback, position of Phillip and, Antonio Gates, and you look at Gates and what he's done to position, how he's really the pioneer of what you see now, from the position in the passing game. He's pretty much the first guy to really, take it to that level of, being a huge passing threat. And, so just picking the small things that he does, whether that's routine or just, what he does in the run game and pass game, how to get open and setting up every route to make the defender think it's one. And then, it's not. And, that's where you see him wide open. It's definitely, a blessing, having that as a younger player.
Well, and you're playing in Los Angeles again, no matter how bad I want it to be San Diego. But
yeah.
What's your opinion of L.A. and life in L.A.?
Yeah, so it's it's a huge adjustment. Growing up in Clearwater area and in Rock Beach, Florida, I definitely accustomed to that beach, warmer weather feeling. But being out in LA, it's definitely I like it. It's fun. It's different. We're actually more so an hour south, more in the Costa Mesa, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach area in Orange County. So, people kind of forget that, like we really only have to go to LA just for the games, 8 times a year. But, just being out in California. Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, I was leaning towards that. It's, traffic here is a whole another level. It could be 10 minutes to get somewhere, or it could be an hour and a half, same distance. You really have to just I don't know, leave in time for sure, because you can't be late to meetings in this league.
All right, so I think the Chargers are one of the best teams in the AFC. When you get Bosa back, I think with Perryman, you've got a great defense. Offensively, you got Melvin Gordon. You got 3 really good tight ends. You got Keenan Allen, of course, Phillip Rivers. I think this is a team that could do something if you guys make it to the playoffs. Now, the thing that stuck out to me, because I've interviewed a lot of NFL legends like Robert Brazil, Kenny Anderson, guys like that, Roman Gabriel, and the thing that stuck out to me is the teams they played on that went to Super Bowls were different. They felt different than other teams they'd played on, if you know what I mean. Just the cohesiveness of the unit.
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel any of that going on with you guys in LA?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. I've never been on another NFL team, but I feel like it's sometimes rare to kind of have that cohesiveness and team chemistry that maybe you would have had at the college or high school level. It's a special feeling that we have as teammates. We're definitely we all bond and get along and play for each other hard. That's what it's all about. Accountability to your brothers. And, I feel like that's what we have going on here. You can kind of see that, on the field on Sundays and what we're doing.
All right. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up here, because I know you're busy. You live in LA. You got better stuff to do than talk to me. But when we look at this overall, as you look into the future, if your career goes exactly the way you want it to go, and where do you see that going? And what do you see yourself doing when that career is over? Because I know you were an all-academic player at Missouri also, so I know you've got to have interest outside of just playing football.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is I want to play as long as I can, as long as I love the game and my body feels healthy and, I feel like I'm, I definitely want to make sure, you never want to put your body at jeopardy or anything that, that's going to, feel the effects when you're 50 and you can't throw with your kids or something like that. As long as I feel healthy and I love the game, I want to play as long as I can. I'd love to have a 10+ career in this league. But, as it happens for every player, this game definitely will end one day. So, that, like you said, with college and what I did there, I definitely valued academics. I was a finance major. I definitely, that's one of my, biggest hobbies really is just following the market and the economy. And, that's definitely something what I want to do, whenever football's done, whether that's, more in the financial planning and advisory role, maybe, also, division of helping athletes, or if that's, working for a bank or getting into the investment banking system or private equity or having my own little investment, fund, if you will, for the angel investing. That's something definitely, if you ask me now what I would do 10 years from now, that's, something I'm very, very interested in.
All right. So you're not interested into broadcasting or anything?
I've, never really thought about it. So, all that, it's pretty big out here. And, you see a lot of former players do that. And, it's something that maybe, that's what I'm feel comfortable with and want to do and have, a passion for it. I would love to. That or even coaching, it's like I found myself a couple weeks ago thinking about that. And it's like, man, I put so much time into this game, it's my, it consumes my life, throughout the whole day. And, I love it. I love every single aspect of what the game of football has brought to me and others, and,
And the thing about that is, if you've played football, you realize the impact a good coach can have on somebody's life. And when you look at it, I mean, that's a huge thing going forward, I think, to have that kind of impact on somebody. And you've talked about a couple coaches that impacted you, especially your high school coach. So, I mean, that has to play into the equation also.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's something that, I think coaching is one of the, an opportunity, you have an immediate direct impact on a person's life, whether that's a kid, in high school or middle school that's struggling, that, needs that encouragement and, role leader, to follow, on an everyday basis, or if that's, in college or the pros, like you definitely have a huge impact on other people and helping them, in a positive way. So yeah, like you said, and especially if you're a former player, who knows, the ins and outs of what it's like to be a football player at the highest level, and you've done that at every level, you can definitely really relate to that player and have a good relationship.
All right, Sean, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on today. We'd love to have you back later on in the season, maybe that off week right before you guys play in the Super Bowl.
Hey, Mike. Hey, man, I really appreciate you having me on. It was awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sean. I want to remind everybody you can hear the Indiana Basketball Show with myself, Colin Hartman, Steve Risley, who was on the 1981 National Championship team at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock. Also, you can follow us at Grueling Truth, and you can hear all of our shows on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher. Wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Sean Culkin, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.